Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, welcome, welcome to Radio Free Wall Street. 5 o'clock New York time every single day. We try to give you the really inside stories that you're not getting anywhere else and tell you the real deal upon the deal if you know about the deal. Well, the deal we want to talk about now is that the OPEC, pre-OPEC meeting, that's a pre-meeting, took place in Kuwait. And they got together, the OPEC scumbags, and they're trying to figure out what the hell to do with this oil market because they're basically causing, at least in third world shitholes, a major slowdown. They know it. Now, OPEC is smart enough to know that when recession comes, oh my God, oil demand falls. Falls, I tell you, falls. So all of a sudden they have to rethink their policy, have to figure out what they're going to do, and they got a quandary. Yep, OPEC's got themselves in a great big shit. What happened was they went ahead and they manipulated oil prices higher, higher, and higher, and now they've ended up with a price that is so high, it's causing literally riots in Brazil, trucks stopping, blocking the highways, had to call out the army, okay? Now, that's not real good for oil manipulators when you kill, it's like if you're going to be a leech, a parasite sucking on the blood, well, you don't want to kill your host. I mean, obviously, that's where the money comes from. So OPEC's got itself a great, big, ugly problem. They don't know what to do about it. U.S. production is increasing and increasing and increasing. In fact, as they cut oil production, the United States increases oil output, production, and exports. It's a really ugly situation, and they've got no solution because they've got to keep the price high because that's what they do. They manipulate prices higher. But the problem is, how do you do that? Well, it's basically a really difficult problem that they met on. Now, they had their little meeting, and what they didn't want you to know is that things are going very badly among OPEC members. There's a lot of dissent. The Russians are getting tired of this shit. They really, 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 really want to go back to producing all they can. Cheating among OPEC members is starting to get a sniff of that. And there's discontent. Oh, my God, not discontent. In the oil business, what will happen next? So they had their little ditty in Kuwait. And a little birdie told me that it was a very contentious meeting. And it's before their June 17th meeting, that is where they're going to have to get together and officially announce quotas and what they're going to do. And a birdie told me that they're considering the lesser of two evils. If the market gets wind that OPEC is out of control, cannot keep production cuts in line, that everyone is cheating, that will drive the oil price lower. But guess what? If the market gets wind that there's too much oversupply in the market, U.S. production is coming on like gangbusters, that will take the market lower. So what they voted for was a controlled descent. Now remember, OPEC hit a price on the 22nd, and it has not been there since. Okay, from the 22nd, you've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Out of 10 trading days, 8 days down, okay? And we closed at a new low. Oh, my God, it's $65.75. Now, remember, they were talking oil to $80 a barrel. We told you that the market would peak somewhere between $72 and $74 a barrel. And, it was a 73. That was a lucky call, huh? I guessed oil lucky again. My, oh, my, oh, my. Now, there's a fortune just trading oil. In fact, we have some subscribers who have made millions and continue making millions just trading our oil recommendations. Of course, they're using enhanced tools, which are good. I like enhanced tools. And they're able to kind of make this oil market make sense to them and make it pay. Now, to give you a little tip, we got a 69.31 in the 21 moving average line, and we're at 65.75. So that projects another drop in this oil market that's going to be significant. Now, here is where I'm not sure what's going on. Yes, I have not sure times in my life, and that's why you have to know how to do this. Where does OPEC go at the meeting? Okay, that's the big question, and that has not been decided. I think that they're going to announce they want to try to keep the cuts. I don't think the market's going to buy it. Now, will we get... See, sometimes at these meetings, here's what you get, one of two things. When the market likes what they say, then you get a little bump up in oil prices. When the market doesn't like what they say, then you've got the market that does oh, shit, and goes down. Now, the problem is that they are trying to get a consensus among the need to maintain existing cooperation and continue a successful endeavor carried out by the participating countries. That was a statement by the committee, and this is the Central Steering Committee. Now, the problem is that they need, should we say, cooperation. What in the hell is cooperation with OPEC? Well, that cooperation, when you hear cooperation, you have to substitute the word manipulation. So they need to continue manipulation with their among the OPEC petroleum exporting countries and also the non-OPEC members. And the problem is that there is a little heat in the teepee. As you can see, the price has come down. That wasn't supposed to happen. OPEC was gunning for $80, $85 a barrel oil basis Brent, and they didn't get it. Now, there's a part of the problem here. Let me explain what it is. The Saudis that are leading this have got a little itsy-bitsy problem. They've got a lot of oil, there's no doubt, and they sell a lot of oil, no doubt, but the problem is that, like so many people that are very, very wealthy, you can actually overspend yourself broke even when you got $1 billion cash flow. They've budgeted for $80 a barrel oil to pay off the Imams sponsored retraining. They've got the mosques, which are tourist recruitment centers all over the world, and they've got the radical element that they have to fund. Now you got to make up for the lavish lifestyle, biggest yachts in the world that they run on the reefs, and then there's a little other problem. They got another line item there. Line number 78 is get atomic weapons and prepare for war with Iran. So there's a great military buildup between the Saudis and the Iranians, and that is one of those little things that Donald Trump is dancing around on, and that's why the Saudis are so excited against sanctions from the Iranians, which will not do any good. But Saudis have always misfigured what their situation is with their good friends, the Iranians. The Saudis are Sunnis, the Iranians are Shiites, and they don't really like each other. And the nice thing about the religion of Islam is that they've done a good job killing themselves, each other off for generations in these feuds. And I think they'll continue to do so. So if you want to count on this, count on OPEC being at war with itself. I mean, obviously, it's a family tradition, okay? And as you know, family feuds can be the ugliest. Now, Russia's got a problem. I mean, they're having a little love fest there about how great it is and how sanctions really are not affecting them. But the reality is sanctions are affecting them. And they got to figure out how to handle this thing. They've also got Donald Trump, which is a handful for because Donald Trump, with the videotapes and the promises and I love you, Pootie baby. So the problem is they have to walk a very careful line here. Now, remember, they know there's an investigation, and they don't need that getting out of hand. And they know there's Trump, and they don't need Trump, who's their boy. They sponsored him. They colluded with him. They arranged through Cambridge Analytica to manipulate the election, and they were successful. Now, I have no problem with that. I mean, the best man win. I mean, everybody gets an election. Russia interfered with the U.S. elections. No. Did they? Oh, no. Oh, shit. Listen. Once you get over your naive stage, I can tell you that Russia interferes in our elections. We interfere in their politics. The United States has a hand and donates money and interferes in elections all over the world. So now all of a sudden it's like, oh, they interfered in our elections? That is so naughty. Shit. Don't fall for this crap, okay? I can tell you for a fact that Muhammad Obama, when the bros were going to take over, the Islamic Brotherhood were going to take over Egypt, he delivered them $1 billion cash money, plus the expertise in the elections, helped them win the elections. That's one of those untold stories. And finally, the Egyptian people, to great credit, said, we are not putting up with this shit. You got the crazy hymn on the street telling the women how they cover up. And the Egyptians are among the most progressive in that part of the world. They really are. And amazing industrious people. They got the canal. They did a $6 billion finance, complete the project under budget. Got a nice cash flow regime, pay back their bonds. I mean, amazing. The story of the Egyptians fighting for their freedom against radical Islam is one that's not been told, but they did a great thing. Tourism's still suffering there, but they are rebuilding the economy nicely. Now, the point of all this is that you've got to understand that the countries that get involved in this crazy radical shit pay a high price. A good example is Turkey. As Turkey becomes more radical, their economy's falling apart. The crazies are taking over. And the lira is just plunging as is business activity. It's just ugly. Now, the countries that get progressive, they tend to kind of escape this thing. The problem is, the problem is that OPEC has got so many members with so many different agendas that it's really hard to get a consensus going, all right? Now, the other problem is that it's one of these things that the more successful you are, the bigger your failure. OPEC is so successful at manipulating oil prices artificially high and getting them above the cost of production that, you know what they're doing? They're bringing a vast amount of inventories. Now, right now, you've heard about, American production's locked in and it won't be there. And let me tell you something about Yankee ingenuity, okay? You have let them boys loose down there. You got kids getting out of high school making $150 an hour. Okay, it's a bonanza. And there's oil, and they're punching holes, and they're bringing up oil like never seen before with good old American technology. That's a story. Forget that coal mine. I think we ought to just close those sumbitches down now. Don't let the guys come out first, but close them down, blow them up. And you know what? Let's make oil great again. That's the game, my friends. And oil's going to be great again. The genie's out of the fracking bottle. Pipelines will be laid one way or another. Canada, by the way, just bought an American oil company. That's the story for Monday I'm going to tell you about. And is doing that because they're like, you want to get sanctions? No problem. See, what you don't know is the Alberta oil really goes in the Midwest United States at a discount and keeps the Midwest refineries cooking. Now, what's happened is we've gotten one of our best friends ever, and we shit on him. That sounds like a Trump deal. You know? It's hard to shit on your enemies. They won't let you, but your friends, you can sucker them all the time. So Canadians going there, what do you do? So they bought the company. This is a very fast deal. Multi-billion. Like I said, I'm not going to tip my hand because I'm going to scoop you on a great story. And they're going to build a massive pipelines to the Pacific Ocean. And from the Pacific Ocean, they're going to load it on boats. And they're taking that shit to China. Go, okay, America, you don't want us, you don't love us, you don't need us? We'll find new bros and new friends. China goes, hey, we'll take that oil. See, the other problem is that to the north, they got the North Pole, and Santa Claus doesn't need any oil. Then you got Russia up there joining them, bordering them. But the problem is, well, here's a newsflash. Russia's got all the oil it can stand. And Canada's got a big fight with America. America's shitting on them. They go, well, okay, pipeline to the Pacific Ocean. Now, what does this do? Well, this opens up vast amounts of oil into the market. See, OPEC's biggest problem is that they continue to underestimate how big this fracking revolution is. They continue to underestimate oil tar, oil sands. They continue to underestimate timelines on how soon the oil is going to come to market, okay? 10 years from now, we might have a problem, but then we'll be a high-tech universe. Bullshit. You got to get up in the morning. You got to close down the harem. You playboys ain't going to do shit. So that's just a fantasy that they've had forever. They're in the oil business, and they're in the camel business, and maybe the camel business takes over. Maybe that's some date farms. But they're in big shit and trouble. Now, as far as American oil, the pipelines are going in as we speak. The routes of oil are being drawn. The supply lines are being put up. The storage facilities are being built, and the export terminals are there. And a lot of ingenuity, like, well, we got an existing terminal. Well, let's see. Well, you remember the Lighten boats? The Lighten boats were boats that what happened was in the olden days, the big ships that couldn't get into shallow harbors would go ahead and put on smaller boats their cargo, and they would be able to get in. Well, somebody scratched their head and goes, well, we did that with, bales of cotton and all that other crap. Why don't we just do that with oil? So we get these smaller boats. We then transport them out. They then transfer to the bigger ship. And away we go, baby, honey, who loves you? And we don't have to worry about the ports being dredged. We don't have to worry about the permits. And I'm telling you, there's a vast amount of oil, and they produce it very cheap, which means a lot of high profit. See, profit means that you got a lot of room to play with solutions, okay? A lot of room. So what does this mean? Well, no matter what they do, as they jack around, oil prices are coming down with OPEC, without OPEC, with agreement, without agreement. They can't stop it. Look, they have an agreement right now, and the agreement has not been broken, okay? And they've been sticking to the production figures, probably remarkably, I might add. And oil went to $73, and it's now at $65. So we're a couple dollars short, say a $10 drop. Now, a $10 on an item that's been manipulated higher by $40, well, you've lost 25% of your manipulation margin. Now, repeat after me. 1, 2, 3. Duh, Mr. Bill, we are in trouble, okay? They're in trouble. Now, they got a couple ways to go here. Let me tell you how this works out. And these are not really smart people. See, the problem is, it's kind of like Rich Daddy. if you got a kid that's got a rich enough daddy and he's spoiled enough, well, there's no reason for him to get an education. I mean, he goes to Harvard, joins a drinking party. Daddy donates a library or two. He gets a degree, but he didn't learn shit. And so what you got is kind of like an inbred monarchy there. And it's like, hey, let's torture my uncle for money. Oh, Cousin BB, come on over here. Would you like the electrode up your ass or in your nose? Oh, Uncle Bill, you decide. Really, it's a crazy freak of... I mean, they are really crazy people. And the problem is that they've got to figure out how to avoid a precipitous decline, okay? Which I believe they can do. But they're sitting on a problem, and that is that oil prices are too high by $20 a barrel by anybody's count. Okay, and they got to figure out how, it's like, let's not get that $65 barrel oil to 55 or 45, because then, see, when you go to 65, there's a hop, skip, and a jump to 55. At 55, 45 ain't far away, and then you got a hop, skip, and jump to, not the dreaded under $45 barrel oil. Now, to give you a perspective, that's not like some far away trip, okay? That is, I mean, they've been there, done that. They were there in June, a year ago. 1 year ago, you had $42 barrel oil, 52, 62, 72, and now you're on your way back to 62, 52. See how that works? It's kind of like, say, it goes up and it goes down. They manipulate the market and it falls on its ass. Exactly the problem OPEC faces as we speak. Now, the big secret meetings they had in Kuwait was to try to drum up support, okay? Saudi Arabia was there, United Arab Emirates, Kuwaitis were there, Algeria, and along with their counterparts from non-OPEC countries. Now, who are the counterparts? Let's see. No cheating, counterpart. Algo guy, who was that? Oh, yeah. Russia. See, now, you want to hear a really interesting thing? See, the Saudis, you got to remember that, it's kind of like, you lose your former glory. That's kind of hard on the system and on the soul. I can appreciate that. They were by far the world's largest oil producer per day. And then the Russians came along. I mean, the Russians of all people. I mean, you can't find no damn camel in Moscow. They're not part of Mohammed's group by a long shot, so it's kind of like it left the family, even the feuding part. And so they got dethroned. But then, to their horror, after supporting the Greenie movement, after doing everything, say, listen, Indian chief, come here. Here's a bag of money. Now, you go there and you tell them your dead ancestors are in that field, and the pipe will disturb their rest, okay? Oh, yeah. And they had protests, and they sponsored that and riot and all that shit. And they gave them hell for a while. But the marketplace is too mighty. And, there's this thing called greed and profit. So now what's happened is America, of all places, is becoming the world's largest daily producer of oil. Oh no, not America! Shit! I mean, they have lobbied hard to stop oil production on the West Coast of the United States, on the East Coast, Florida, where there's vast amounts of oil. They've stopped the oil coming out of Alaska. They have done every trick in the book. And you know what? Stupid bastards screw themselves. And let me explain to you how. That's bastards with a capital B. Well, what happened was they did this thing called capitalizing the market with too much money. And that meant that smart people finally got a budget. Okay, and they said, listen, boss, I know we can make horizontal drilling work. No, there's no need. Can't afford it. Oh, $100 a barrel. Boss, yeah, we'll invest a little bit of budget there. Show me where. And then horizontal go, whoa. And you're punching these holes. And it's like a collection point. And you're sucking up, oh, my God, look at the production. These old fields are alive again, and why, the Permian Basin is going to be one of the most profitable fields on the planet Earth, putting to shame the Saudi fields? See, that wasn't supposed to happen. See, that wasn't part of the deal. That was not like, they go, Ahmed, didn't your oil expert tell us that fracking would not be economical? Yeah, we're out of here. No. I want you to come to the palace basement. I got something to show you down there you may like. Yeah. So by the way, they locate those special places right near the hospital. Torture you until you're near death, bring you to the hospital, get you pumped up, back in again. They are amazing how long they keep a man alive. It's something they really like doing. But the problem was that their complete calculation on fracking was wrong. And get this, still wrong. See, now they got the thing that, let me tell you this, there's like little myths in the oil business. The oil business is kind of like a pagan religion, you know, where you throw your baby into the fire pit, mulak, and then he's happy with you and you get rewards and presents and stuff. Well, that's the kind of, that's like the 35, 40. How many versions is it now? I can't remember. A whole lot of them. God damn. Some people have all the fun. So anyway, they had 45 versions and all this stuff. It was another fantasy. Another fantasy was, well, okay, fracking may be working a little bit more than we thought, but there's no pipeline. What's going on? The biggest pipeline building spree quietly in the history of America. They're laying thousands of miles of pipe as we speak, and it's going to come on stream in not 20 years, not 10 years, but 2 years. I think we stepped on our great big foot again. And what's happening is the oil industry, outside of the insiders, even big oil does not understand how all these little ants have got all this money coming in there, and all these little companies. Actually, look at that pissant company. Not pissant anymore. They've grown up. You know, it's kind of like, it's like, I see it with my dogs, okay? I'm a freak for raising lots of dogs. And you got these little puppies, and every once in a while, a tough male comes along, right? And he's just a little thing. But you can tell he's got a heart. He's got spirit, right? He'll fight him. And then you got the dominant male out there. And he's got to push him around, kid, leave me alone. And all of a sudden, he's getting a little bigger and stronger every day. And then finally, the old dog that thought he was on top, he kicks his ass. He goes under the tractor for about 2-3 days, doesn't want to come out, and the new dog is strutting his stuff, okay? And we don't let them fight, but they do have an order of a hierarchy. And the lesson to learn is that they kind of poo-pooed fracking, and they kind of poo-pooed the pipelines, and they kind of poo-pooed the ports, and all of a sudden go, wait, they're using existing ports? Yeah, commercial ports. They found out the ports are close to the pipelines, so then therefore they just get a permit from the pipeline all over Louisiana, Texas, to the smaller ports, and then they build a tank, and they get a permit for that. That's pretty easy. It's local. And then that port is now taking in smaller boats, or ships to be more precise, and, they're filling them up with oil, and then they're bringing it out there to the deeper water and transferring it to the other boats, or making it feasible at bringing that oil to China. See, let me explain how the economics work. We have got one of the biggest spreads I've ever seen. That's the difference between West Texas Intermediate, which is the sweet oil of America, and Brent. And most of the Saudi, by the way, what you don't know is that all you're seeing a couple of prices. There's a whole menu of prices. But for comparison shopping, we like to compare the Brent, which we regard as a European grade, to the West Texas Intermediate, which is the U.S. grades, and then they all priced locally off of that. But you got an amazing situation. Come close to the microphone. It's a secret. The amazing situation is the premium is like the biggest ever. It's $11. 11. So that means that if I buy oil for $65 in America, well, I ship it across the ocean and I add $11 to it. Now, if I take the cost of getting that oil and loading it on a ship, I have to charter the boat, I've got to insure it, I tie them with letters of credit on the other side that are irrevocable, so that's a done deal. Well, all of a sudden, they have loading inspectors that expect the loading, offloading. It means it's a mature industry. And you can do it even if you're paying a premium price for your tanker right now. Let's say you got a $3 differential. Well, you've got $11 profits in there. Let's say it's 10 because you're stupid, okay? Well, you got $7 premium per barrel. Okay, so you get 1 million barrels on that ship. That's $7 million cash in your pocket, paying everything. Now, that's making money the old-fashioned way, right? You charter a boat there, boat everywhere. And let me tell you, big-time operators are figuring this out. And there's a huge industry of like, okay, what boat can I charter? What's her dead weight? What's her draft? Okay. And the insurance there, the charter's there, got the customer lined up here, and all of a sudden, this oil that was kind of like bottleneck, that Saudi was counting on being bottleneck. Hello, Saudi. Here's the new. Now, put down the phone. Just lower the dial, the voltage, so you can't hear with the screams. And here's a newsflash. That bottleneck is no longer a bottleneck, and they're opening it up. And more oil is escaping out of America to around the world on a daily basis. And you want to hear the wake-up call? Hello! It's going to your customer, China. Now, there's another little side of this thing. See, it's a way that in the oil business, things kind of conspire to get prices higher, prices lower. For example, let's talk about what's driving oil prices higher. Well, you got Venezuela. That's another shithole with that dictator-elect Maduro. A bus driver. I mean, not a very good one either, I understand, okay? And the man's got some deep emotional flaws, should we say. So anyway, that's hurting the country that's got the most oil in the world, okay? They have lakes of oil. It's unbelievable. And then you got Donald Trump that wants to be great again, and there was no collusion, and this is a deep state conspiracy. Listen, you guys didn't listen to me. I'm tired of everyone trashing the Don. This is the art of the deal. So the art of the deal is he wants to bring sanctions against Iran. Nobody else wants them. Russia and China go, yeah, we could buy the oil even cheaper for that. No problem. Yeah, go ahead, do it. Anyway, so the oil market priced that in. Now, on the other side of it, what they didn't price in was the fact that sky-high oil prices meant fracking, racking around the world. It's becoming a big deal. They're fracking around the clock here, right? And then they didn't count the price that Canada, which has got those oil sands, remember, that's a large source of revenue for them. It's like, we can bring that to market. Permits are not a problem. Let's get the government in here. Let's push this thing through. All right, cream it down the throat. And then you've got people going, well, you need a pipe, huh? Well, I got pipe. That's not so hard. 38-inch pipe. Well, yeah, we can. Yeah, you can run across the field here, dig a little hole, get a little permit. Oh, it's in-state. Oh, it's a lot easier to get permits. And all of the ports are fighting for the business to get a little tank and a pipeline there. Well, just let everybody get an oil terminal. Got it? Are you putting this together? And now it's suddenly the oil's trapped there, and there's big discounts, and they can't get it out. Bullshit. They'll get it out. They're shipping it by rail. They're shipping it by truck. They'll ship it in little glass milk bottles with little rubber stops on it. Oil is oil. It's the most highly traded commodity in the world. Everybody wants it, got to have it. Now, what's going to give? Well, it's going to bring the price down. Now, listen, if you're in the Balkans, you were in tall gravy, you're in tall cotton anyway at $40 a barrel. $50 you dance a dick. When you got $60 a barrel, you go to Dallas, and you go to the guy and say, hey, can you sell me a $100,000 rusty pickup truck that you put clear coat on it in a crate engine? Okay, I'll take 3 of them. Little honey, you want one too? My daughter's 17, so you got so much that you're spending money on silly shit. Now, at $70 a barrel, oh my God, you're going, honey, baby, I love everyone. And that's when you go to the First Assembly God of Church, you make a big donation. The pastor's going, let's see, do I need the G1 jet? Well, I can save more souls with the G3. We fly faster, and you got to get it. So, I mean, it's party time. Okay, party. Oklahoma? Oh, my God, it's like, hell yeah, we got oil. Hell yeah, you could drill that hole. I don't give a shit about earthquakes, ecology, groundwater. Yeah, put some oil dry there, a little rubber mat. Okay, I'll take care of these people. It's like, why? Well, the money's so big. The money's so big. And it's like, the genie's out of the bottle, guys. Toothpaste's out of the tube. It's party time. You ever had one of those grease guns that's got the little tube in the spring, and then all of a sudden you screw up, you don't load it right, and then the spring lets go, and the grease comes out of the tube? Well, you can't get it back in no matter what you do. I mean, it's done there. Well, that's what's happening here. You can't get it all back in that hole. It's coming out. And it's going to market one way or another, by truck, by train, pickup truck with 55-gallon drums on the back, whatever it takes. Why? Because it's so damn profitable. The margin is so great. And you want to hear the other really good part? The more you frack, the cheaper it gets. Now, remember that there's another little side of this thing besides, I'll tell you, we've got the Donald Trump fact. I love Donald. Donald, I love you, baby. Who loves you? He's got by the way, I don't want you to catch, I was, with the Apprentice, let's face it, really lost a lot when Donald Trump was gone. But then he started the Washington version in the Rose Garden one in the Oval Office. So you got that reality show there. Now, what you need to understand with the reality show is that Donald Trump is pissing everyone off, and the Chinese are going, we don't like blonde people. Chinese don't like blonde, I can tell you. Chinese are going, what are we going to do with this guy? Well, give him a pink king duck and some gold shit and tell him how great he is. Oh, we're doing that already. So what does China going to do? Well, he's got this thing about the balance of trade deficit. He doesn't want to count services. So what are you going to do? I know. Well, let's buy all our oil from American companies. It doesn't change the U.S. economy one little bit. It doesn't really make America great again, but it finagles the books, okay? The guy's going, yeah, do it. So now China's going, we'll take all the oil you want to give us. Advance money, contract, whatever you need. Why? Every barrel of oil they buy from America is another Trump off their ass on the balance of trade surplus they're running. So why buy for the Saudis? Saudis, are paying the ass. What is Saudi Arabia going to buy with their little teeny pissant country compared to what America's going to buy for China, right? I mean, who do you want to save? It's like, Saudis, we're so sorry, but if you guys start producing dates, we'll buy them from you in place of the oil. Yeah, we like dates. So you've got this whole factor of the Donald Trump equation. And it ain't going to go away. This trade thing's a big shit. I mean, it's a big freaking mistake. And so what's happened is it's how the numbers play out. Let me give you an example. You know how you heard how great America is with Donald Trump and the jobs? I mean, it's the best job report ever. Tweet. Well, and now, by the way, that number is going to translate into creating artificially high GDP, but I'll explain that to you this week. We're going to do a lot on that, but that's okay because that's really good. Let me explain. Remember when they had like the open border? Come in, bring your duffel bag, and oh, you bought some marijuana to offset your trip? No problem. Well, the problem is that, it's like it's homegrown in America, and so they knocked the shit out of that business. So the problem you got is that they've slammed shut the Southern Employment Office. Yeah, that border, that was the employment line, okay? And so what's happened is millions, see M, that's with an M. Again, it's T's thousands, millions in M, and billions with a B, and now you got, when you're talking serious money, trillions. So anyway, I want to make this point too. It's very important. You need to understand that what's happened is that in the restaurant business, hospitality business, the fruit picking business hired a huge amount in the millions and millions and millions with an M of illegal labor from south of the border. You can tell, have your green cards ready, inspection. I did that couple. We had some fun. Jerry ran out the door. Immigration. I got to know. I was young and foolish. Hilarious. Frank, don't do that again with the little bullhorn, right? Anyway, so what's happened is you don't have those people there. So their employers. So now remember, undocumented workers don't get documented. Okay, when you got the factory in Arkansas that's clean the chickens, okay? Believe me, you have thousands and tens of thousands of them, and you play a lot of games, and, every once in a while they have a little raid, and you make it look good, but, that's where your bread and butter comes from, okay? And the restaurant businesses in every major city in America. Well, have you noticed that the busboys start to speak English again? Like, you noticed the shit that nailed out of your purse. Well, what's happening is the businesses are not able to get the supply of the illegal labor. So they have to pay a little bit more. And now what they're doing is they're hiring African Americans. They're hiring felons. They are hiring people that, you failed the piss test. Wow, man, really? Whoa. But that's okay, we'll give you a job. Wow, how cool, man. Now wait a minute, but you got to promise that you're not going to get high on the job. Yeah, sure, no problem. So what's happening is the drug screening's gone to hell. Convicted felons have gotten to hell. Blacks who have no education cannot read and write or get in jobs. And that's getting into the job numbers, okay? So when you hear like the black unemployment rate ever, well, it's not black rocket scientists, not black engineers. It's blacks who the system have failed, by the way, who've not gotten education, who are being forced into the workforce for a lot of different policies. It's the same thing with felons and prisoners released on the supervised release programs now there's a squeeze to get them working in heavy pressure with the Latinos not taking the important jobs. So, when Donald Trump's talking about Mexico's going to give back those jobs, well, they are. Mexico's giving back. If you want to clean toilets, Donald Trump is going to get you a toilet job, no problem. Interstate 6 and hotels, they got to hire like Americans that really have it for real, like Social Security cards, not the phony ones. And by the way, a lot of those companies, the way they get that around it is they have a contractor. So no, we don't hire any illegal aliens here at Interstate 6. Holiday Inn, no, sir, we'd never do it, Your Honor. No. Oh, our contractor? Did our private contractor have... Well, we had no way of knowing since we didn't hire those people, Your Honor. No. You see the game? So what's happening on the employment number is that those people are no longer there, and they were in the shadows, never counted. So now what's happening is you're counting, and that's the reason why you've got this huge increase in the employment figures, and that's why you've got no increase in pay, or very marginal, because you have to pay them a little bit more than your Mexican labor. And that's why the work week is still 35 hours, because really it's not the labor shortage are telling you. How do you know? Well, see, I've been at this like 35 years, and as employers get more demand, they increase the work week of the people that are working there. And as they increase the work week, then they go into overtime and push it to that 45 number. Now, at 45, that gives them enough time to say, okay, this trend is valid, because remember, to make your people work longer hours is a safer way of doing it. And also, we look at manpower and the temporary agencies. Temporary agencies are not seeing an increase in employment, right? So what you can do is before you make the commitment to hire more people, which you get stuck with, you then increase the work of your people you have. So we want to see that work week increase to 45. We're not seeing it. And then the next thing you want to see is the temporary agencies. You get the temporary in there, and then he fills the gap, and then you bring in the hardcore regular worker. You're not seeing that. And then you would see an increase in the job participation rate. In other words, how many people are in the worker pool and we're not. It's at record lows. So now we know that we're hiring felons, African Americans, females, minorities that have never had great employment numbers and record highs, and I think that's great. If we can help them out, that's fine. But the problem is that we're still not giving increases in pay, and that's why this is the shit they don't want to tell you. They know, they know. They got to blow blue sky up your ass, right? So they got to make that GDP. That's become a politicized number. It's worthless now. Mark my words, it's gonna be a big number. It's like the unemployment report. So you got the unemployment report that looks really good, but now you're basically counting people that you didn't count before because they're in the shadows. But if you know how to interpreting the report, so you have to understand what you're doing without reading the headline bullshit number, you go, well, wait a minute. Hours work's not picking up. Workforce participation is not increasing. And pay is not really increasing, except for the differential. They have to be a little bit higher on the lower end. And it's the lower end of the spectrum, not the higher end. And the manpower agencies and temporary agencies are not giving people, so it's bogus. Now, that's like the oil. In other words, when you're looking at the oil and the fracking is not working and all that, well, the reality is that they're not counting the oil. Got to remember, the frackers are at a disadvantage. They're having a discount the further they are away from a pipeline. So these guys are fracking what you look at as $70 barrel oil. Well, these guys are pushing that shit to market at 35, 30, 25, and still making money and still happy to do it. Now, what happens? Well, when you connect them up with a pipeline, okay, that 25 and 35 they got, that 25 and 35 goes up to 35, 39, stabilizes at 40. Oil prices come down to 30. The supply increases, and then the whole cycle starts again, right? So that's the secret, and that's why OPEC had a big meeting in Kuwait. And I'm telling you what, they were not happy campers. And now we got the big oil market. I think it's the 17th it is, and they got to come up with a face-saving. Well, I'll tell you, it goes like, well, we saved mankind. Yes, we did. We stopped that incredible oversupply of oil that was going to stop investment in the oil business, and we got the investment. Aren't we great again? See, they're taking a playbook out of the Donald Trump bullshit. Now, when you get a man like Donald Trump, I mean, you can love him, but let's say that he's a liar. He's footloose and fancy-free with the facts, and that's okay. But you have to take that into calculation. So there's the reality, and there's a Trumpality. And Trumpality will lose you a lot of money, but reality will make you a lot of money if you understand it. Trumpality. I'm going to coin that, Trumprality. That's the reality according to Donald Trump, which is bullshit. So bottom line is The unemployment rate in the report is bullshit. It's not no improvement. It's because the Mexicans can't come here to work and the Spanish people and the Central Americans. And so you're hiring felons, undesirables, people that fail their drug tests, minorities, that poor people have never had a chance to have an education and a life, and you're squeezing them into the workforce and counting them for the first time. But the problem is you didn't count the people they replaced, so it's not really additional jobs, it's shifting. How do you like that for a genius report? See, that's why I get the analyst job. I did good, aren't I? Okay, anyway, been my pleasure. I went 41 minutes. I tried to get out of here with, 30 minutes, but who loves you, baby?